Welcome back to the channel. Greg Allen F1, coming to you with Miami's first ever Grand Prix here in the United States. Formula One coming to my home country. Always really fun to watch. I guess technically this would be my home Grand Prix at this point. Let's get right into the action. For what action that there was, first half of this race, a bit of a snooze fest. Overtaking was difficult, but we got treated to a great end of this Grand Prix. Lap 1, good start from Leclerc and Max. Ricciardo as well. I thought he had a good start too. Was hoping that was going to be a good sign for things to come with McLaren. Wasn't really the case. Alonso also a good start. Carlos Sainz, though, does struggle for Ferrari, and he kind of gets lucky in the end there to end up on the podium. He had some struggles all day long. Lap 6, Hamilton complains about damage that he has with the contact with Fernando Alonso in the opening lap, while simultaneously overtaking Pierre Gasly. Thought that was an awesome classic Hamilton moment there where guy just wants to be that much better than I think he thinks he should be, meaning that he's always complaining about something while also doing something really impressive. So pretty good to see there. Good day for Mercedes overall. We'll come to that a little bit later, though. Lap 7, Haas cars moving on up. I thought both of them were looking pretty good for a few minutes there in this race. It doesn't work out that way in the end, unfortunately. But Mick versus Yuki Tsunoda, we got some really good racing there. And then Zhou Guanyu has to retire. Tough day for him. Alfa Romeo had some pretty fast pace there. He never really gets to show that at all. Technical issues for him. Lap 9, Verstappen takes the lead, and that would be the pass for the win in this race. We get some really great racing at the end there, which I'll get to in a minute, but ultimately not enough. Max, great move, good pace on the straights there for Red Bull, ultimately wins them this race. Lap 20, Checo believes that he has lost power. Interesting debate there between Red Bull and Checo. Checo saying he's losing power, and he's losing tons of pace at this moment, and Red Bull saying that there's nothing wrong. Thought that was an interesting conversation back and forth. Meanwhile, Lando Norris starts struggling after a bad pit stop, and he gets stuck in a DRS train towards the back of the pack, and that ultimately would lead to his demise in this race, and really was a major issue for McLaren all day long. Lap 38, Carlos Sainz has a slow stop, 5.8 seconds for the Ferrari team, and that puts Checo in play, and I'll be very honest with you, I'm so surprised that Checo did not wind up finishing third in this race. I think the power issues cost him that because Carlos, not the best of days, not the best of stops. Red Bull had every opportunity to take advantage of that. They couldn't quite do it, though, because of the power issue for Checo. Lap 33, DRS train that I was talking about with Norris up here, holding everyone up, and it was the Aston Martins of Stroll and Sebastian Vettel, just completely holding up everyone. Ruins Haas's day, McLaren's day, and maybe to a lesser extent some of the Williams cars as well. Ricciardo and Norris got stuck, though, behind that DRS train and just could not get out of it, and it's a horrendous day for McLaren. Not the best day for Haas either because of it, but for McLaren, this winds up completely destroying their day. I don't know if there's anything they could have done to maybe change strategy. Slow stop is what put Norris there. I don't understand the strategy of putting Ricciardo out behind it. Either way, McLaren, a weekend to forget in Miami. Lap 40, there is contact between Gasly and Alonso. So they have some contact on the rear of Pierre Gasly's car. That ultimately winds up costing him, and he completely drops off the pace. And one lap later, Pierre Gasly and Lando Norris have an accident where Gasly's completely off the pace, doesn't realize Norris is there, turns right into him, catches the rear of Norris's car. Norris would have a pretty crazy spin and crash, has to retire, and the whole race, which was kind of a bit of a snooze fest up to that point, winds up being turned on its head, and we get some great racing the rest of this once the safety car is cleared. We do have the safety car to clear Norris's crash. Safety car ends on lap 46. And from there on out, we have just great racing all up and down this entire field. Leclerc putting in fastest laps right on Verstappen for about 4 or 5 laps there. It looked like he was going to get him. Ultimately, the Red Bull straight line pace does work out for Max. He's able to get out of that DRS range once DRS started. And from that point on, he pulls away. But for 4 or 5 laps there, Leclerc was doing everything he could to give Max a battle for this win. We also had the Mercedes cars doing a fantastic job battling each other. A great battle between George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton not happy with the way strategies worked out between the two drivers. I think he's getting a little frustrated ending behind Russell. There's also an argument to be made that George Russell maybe get away with one in his overtake there. He did leave the track and didn't really give the spot back. So interesting to see if anything comes from that. But I think Lewis is starting to get a little frustrated. That said, Mercedes finishes 5th and 6th, I believe. I got to recheck the unofficial results. The celebrations are happening right now, so I haven't looked at the final. Pretty sure they were 5th and 6th. Fantastic day for Mercedes. A huge recovery. First time we've seen both of them up there in a while. So good stuff from them. Pace is getting a little bit better. Lap 51, Checo has a lockup. Can't get by Carlos Sainz. I think that was his big chance there. He just sent it a little too tough in there. Locks up. Sainz able to get back around him. That was as close as Checo would get. And finally, lap 54, Mick Schumacher, who was having a fantastic day and looked like he might get his first points in Formula One, gets into Sebastian Vettel. He believes it was his corner. I haven't watched enough replays of it yet. Unfortunate that it was those two drivers. Obviously, a very good relationship between them. It'll be interesting to see what they say after this race. But major damage to Mick Schumacher, ruins his day, and Seb has to retire. So a disaster between those two drivers. A lot of contact. Really surprised a safety car wasn't thrown out for that one, or at least a virtual safety car. Lots of debris from that one. But they deemed the track was safe, and they let it finish under green. So there you have it. Max Verstappen wins. Leclerc second. Sainz third. Good day for Ferrari overall. A huge day for Red Bull again. Max Verstappen has won every single race that he has finished this season. Pretty crazy stuff. For Leclerc, they're going to be looking in Ferrari to see how they can get that straight line speed a little bit closer to Red Bull's. Overall, amazing event in Miami. Really fun to have all the festivities in the U.S. It has made it much easier for me to watch. As you know, if you watch this channel, I missed the last two races, not able to put up reviews. The timing just didn't work out for me with my personal life. So loving it being here in the U.S. Spain will be easier. Monaco will also be easier with the time zones of Australia was just too much for me. But overall, some improvements I think that could happen if they return to Miami, which I believe they will next year. Really hard to overtake. That's kind of my big issue with this track, but we did get really good racing the last 17 laps so I guess I can't totally complain. That's been pretty par for the course this season in Formula One. You kind of have a snooze fest in the first half, and then a safety car comes out, and we just have a fantastic bonkers ending of the race. So that's how I felt this race wound up going as well. Entertaining race, great event. The fanfare around it was fantastic. Formula One is definitely here in the United States. We're loving it. It's been really fun for me, who's been following the sport for several years, to see how much it's grown in the last few. So hope you enjoyed this one. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let me know what you thought in the comments. Talk to you in the next one.